There is a village in the American South, so small it doesn't have a stoplight. One gas station, one church, one school that doubles as a town hall when the season calls for it. The kind of place where everybody knows what your grandmother's voice sounds like, and nobody ever really leaves. Or if they do, they carry the village with them like a stone in their shoe. That's where Shirley grew up. She was the daughter of a woman who cleaned other people's houses, and a father she stopped waiting for by age 7. She learned early that love was mostly something you did with your hands. You showed up. You cooked. You held things together. You didn't complain. At 31, Shirley was doing all of that and more. Single mother, night shift nurse at Mercy General, mother to a 9-year-old girl named Amara who had her father's eyes and her mother's stubbornness, which meant she was going to be fine if Shirley could stay on her feet long enough to see it. The nursing floor Shirley worked was Ward C, oncology, the floor where hope got honest. She had learned not to get attached. That was what the training said. Maintain professional distance. Stay useful. Don't blur the lines. For 6 years, Shirley had followed that instruction perfectly. She was efficient. She was competent. She was one of the best nurses on the floor. She was also slowly disappearing. Not in a way anyone could see. She smiled at morning handoff. She answered questions. She did her job. But inside, something had gone very quiet. Then, she was assigned to room 4. His name was Walter, 79 years old, stage 4 pancreatic cancer, no living family. He'd been a high school biology teacher for 40 years in a town not unlike the one Shirley had come from. He had a thermos of terrible coffee he somehow managed to get refilled every morning. He read paperback novels with the covers bent back. And he talked. Lord, he talked. Most of the nursing staff found reasons to keep room 4 visits short. Shirley didn't. She didn't know why at first. Maybe it was the way he never asked for sympathy. Maybe it was that he reminded her, just slightly, of the grandfather she'd lost too young. Or maybe it was that he was the only person in her life who asked her questions and then actually waited for the answer. "You look tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix," he said one evening, while she was adjusting his IV line. She told him she was fine. "I didn't ask how you were. I said you look tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. That's a different thing." She paused. And for reasons she couldn't fully explain, she sat down in the chair by his bed. She told him about the village, about her mother's hands, about Amara's school play she'd missed 3 months ago because she was covering a double shift, about the promotion she hadn't applied for because she was afraid of what it would cost her, and also afraid of what staying still was costing her. Walter listened. He didn't nod the way people nod when they're waiting for you to finish. He actually listened. Then he said something she turned over in her mind for weeks. "You grew up watching people hold things together. So that's what you learned to be, the one who holds things together. But Shirley, who's holding you?" If a story like this is speaking to something in you, subscribe right now. Every week we bring you stories about ordinary people who refuse to let their circumstances write the final word, and the wisdom that moved them from surviving to becoming. Walter had 6 weeks left when Shirley met him. She used every visit. He told her about a student he taught in 1987 who'd gone on to run a public health program in 3 countries. He told her he'd almost quit teaching in his 3rd year, and that the only thing that stopped him was a colleague who told him, "The ones who almost quit are usually the ones who were made for it." He asked Shirley about her nursing, not the mechanics, the meaning, why she chose it, what it gave her that nothing else did. She hadn't thought about that in years. Somewhere in those weeks, she remembered. She started looking at our patients differently, not as cases, as people at the edge of something. And she, Shirley, the girl from the village who'd learned love was something you do with your hands, she was the one standing with them at that edge. That wasn't ordinary. That was extraordinary. She had just forgotten how to see it. On a Tuesday in March, Walter's readings changed. Shirley was there for the last 2 hours. She held his hand. She didn't say anything.
There wasn't anything to say. When she walked out of room 4 that night, she sat in her car in the hospital parking lot for a long time. Then she took out her phone and applied for the nurse educator position she'd been ignoring for 4 months. She got the interview. She got the job.
2 years later, Shirley is training new nurses across 3 hospital wards. She teaches clinical skills, yes, but she also teaches them something Walter taught her without ever meaning to. She teaches them how to actually see the person in the bed. She tells the new nurses on their first day, "Your patients are not interrupting your work. They are your work. Don't let this floor teach you to look through people. The moment you stop seeing them, you stop being a nurse. You're just a technician." Amara is 11 now. She told her class last month that her mother saves lives for a job. Shirley heard about it secondhand and cried in the hospital bathroom for 4 minutes. Then she washed her face and went back to work. Walter never got to see what he started, but maybe that was always the point. The people who change us rarely stay to see it. They give us something true, and then they go, and it's our job to carry it forward and make something worthy of the gift. Here's what Shirley proved. Burnout isn't always about working too hard. Sometimes it's about forgetting why you started. Sometimes it takes one person, one quiet, honest, dying man with terrible coffee and a paperback novel to remind you that what you do is not just a job. It is a calling you answered, and callings do not expire. So here is your challenge. Think about the thing you do every day that you've stopped feeling. Not quit, not abandoned, just stopped feeling. Now ask yourself, when did that happen? And who were you before it did? Sit with that question for 3 days. Don't rush the answer. The answer already knows where you are. If Shirley's story reached you, you already know this is the channel you need in your life. Subscribe now. And if this reminded you of someone who changed your life without knowing it, share it with them today. Like if Walter's words, found the right person at the right time. They usually do.